Oh, hielo, ¿verdad?
Well, I have these frozen.
Oh, okay.
Just in case. Well, I mean, because that's what I wanted to do.
So, verde, blanco y rojo. So, primero verde.
Oh, does it go on the bottom?
Yeah,
Oh,
verde, blanco y rojo.
Right at the top. Okay.
So, green.
Those aren't frozen. So.
Green.
And then it would have to be clear.
Blanco,
I guess at that point.
Esta.
I mean, I guess not so much white.
It's white. Y luego rojo.
Ahí va,
Entonces este es encima. ¿Quieres?
Yeah. What are you gonna do? Tequila and orange juice and squirt?
Triple sec.
I think I will.
O puede ser pineapple también. ¿Sabes qué? Voy a hacer square.
I think I'm gonna do this one.
La sangre de Cristo que se convierte en vino. Es que no hay que ser borrachos.
Well, because in the past they couldn't trust their water. It had to be like.
It had to be a wine.
Yeah, distilled.
No. Este es un sunrise, tequila sunrise, pero hecho de mula.
I probably should have put the juice first.
Tenedores.
Tenedor. You have toothpicks?
Okay. Cinco de Mayo.
It's like a fruit salad. It's like a... What are those things called? Those fruit salads that everyone does with the yogurt. Tiene nombre, ¿no?
No, pues nomás yogurt con fruta.
I think it's a... I think the... Cheers. I think it's called an ambrosia salad.
Ambrosia salad.
Don't be fooled if you ever see that on the menu.
Ambrosia salad.
Thinking it's going to be some sort of, I don't know, flour or whatever.
Es de fruta.
Yeah, it's just like the cantaloupe, grapes, strawberries with yogurt, whatever it is.
I've never seen one. I don't think I've ever seen one of those.
Yeah,
Lo que yo he visto de fruta es las
like
sangrías. La sangría es mucha fruta, pero es con vino.
So would this be kind of, I guess, right?
Ándale. Sería una sangría, pero mexicana o puertorriqueña. El rum es puertorriqueño, supuestamente puertorriqueño.
O Caribbean.
Pues del Caribe. Puerto Rico.
Okay, let's talk about Genesis.
Okay. So, el comienzo de la Biblia es el Génesis, ¿verdad? Y es el principio de todo, supuestamente, de cómo Dios hizo el cielo, la tierra y todas las cosas. Eso dice el principio. En el principio, cuando Dios creó los cielos y la tierra, todo era confusión y no había nada en la tierra. Las tinieblas cubrían los abismos mientras el Espíritu de Dios aleteaba sobre la superficie de las aguas. Dijo Dios: haya luz, y hubo luz. Dios vio que la luz era buena y separó la luz de las tinieblas. Dios llamó a la luz día y a las tinieblas noche. Atardeció y amaneció y fue el primer día. Okay. ¿Cómo es?
What do you think about? Have you heard about that whole simulation theory?
¿Cómo que? No.
That you know how recently there was this guy who from Google who invented, not from Google, but there was like a guy who like in AI, AI, artificial intelligence, he creator regret. So he recently released the whole thing, Godfather. There it is. He regrets his invention of artificial intelligence. Now he's spending his time. He's retired and he's spending his time spreading word of its
It's not good.
warning of its imminent and profound danger to humanity, like the artificial intelligence thing. So there's this whole theory or whatever where people are like, we are a video game. We are like the way that like this guy created this
Intelligence
thing,
world.
yeah, that can now start to think and can learn. They're saying that we were something that got out of control, that like could then start to like there was our programmer who like coded us and then like kind of was like
Pues sí.
So it's like this, the way that it's worded right here makes me think, oh wow, I can see why people like to run with that, where they're like, oh yeah, like one day he was like, let's plug this in, let's turn this on, and then like our universe was created, or our existence.
Tiene mucho sentido.
But like,
Porque o sea, de aquí del principio de esto es donde salen todas muchas las teorías. Y es como se va, como en el primer día no había nada y luego de repente se sale como un videotape o algo que, okay, vamos a hacer esto.
And then also, yeah, like
y
when they
una programación interna. Okay.
And I think also the fact that there's like they also use, I don't know if they use this as like evidence for their argument. I would, but the fact that there's like patterns in nature. You know how like there's stuff that like repeats. There's like certain number sequences or whatever. There's like certain things where it's like it's just where it's a pattern. Like I don't know, however the cactus grows is like there's a specific. I'm sure there's like something, if you were to count the amount of like ridges or whatever, that it would be something with like, I don't know.
The past,
something with like that. It's like pattern, like it's a repeating pattern where it's like, oh, this grows like with this, the same way that like some sort of structure would have like this many.
Pues lo que dicen también en la historia que se repite ella misma. ¿Por qué no? O sea, hay cosas que están enterradas en la tierra. ¿Cuántas cosas no están enterradas que vuelven a nacer? Raíces.
Have you seen with all like there's like a lot of videos of like landslides, mudslides, like cliff going out like right now in California. And so, there's this one couple who was recording, they were like just walking at a river. And imagínate like right here, except there's too many rocks here, like it's too rocky.
Y no se quebraría de esa área.
But like, so like, it's like a forest, like there's like a, like a little forest, like let's say like as high as that from like us. Okay, like they're watching as it's like falling into the river. And so like then out of nowhere, just like, I don't know, it made me think that's like the Grand Canyon, where it's like the Grand Canyon, except like, millions of years ago. It was like that shallow and it had like a little forest on top that slowly fell.
Si te fijas ahí abajo, yo también es lo que como que he visto de la erosión que está pasando. El río, como que se ha ido o abriendo y las piedras se han ido cayendo porque se ve como se rodaron unas de aquel lado para abajo. O sea, como que tuvo que haber pasado algo bastante grande.
A lot of water.
Un earthquake. Pero también un río que fue deshaciendo, abriendo. Pero como ahorita, cuando las crecientes que acaban de pasar, arrasó con un montón de agua, se llevó un montón de arena. Y toda esa arena se la llevó al mar.
And then the start of mudslides is like, have you seen those videos where it's like the head of like the mudslide? Where it's like, it's just a bunch of debris like going super
fast. Yeah. Sí, pues sí, es que hay tantos que no sabemos que se está cambiando ahorita, pero está cambiando. Y luego dice, ok, como eso fue el día y la noche, como lo que crea uno. El señor que dices que hizo eso, está imitando puramente a Dios, como quien dice. Y es donde como se puede basar a alguien. Porque pues automáticamente se está una inteligencia artificial que es hecha por un hombre y lo único que puede tener es el mismo sentimiento de esa persona. O sea, porque ellos son los que le van a poner como su programación de su cerebro, lo
Whatever,
que ellos,
yeah, it can, yeah.
y es lo que a lo que se va a basar esa inteligencia.
That is, yeah, because like there was
Y
this
es un día peligrosa
one of the first,
para protegerse.
there was like this a few, I don't know how long ago, but there was this artificial intelligence Twitter account or website or something that was released. And the only people that would interact with it were interacting with it like saying a bunch of racist things, so it became a racist.
Oh.
And they had to shut it down after like 24 hours or something. But it's like, yeah, that's one of the things about about that specific technology is that it learns what you feed it. It learns what it's fed.
Solo en eso, pero está como para protegerse ella misma.
Yeah, and it's like I guess that's why you see like those sci-fi movies, those horror thrillers or whatever, where it's like it eventually moves and
Es
it
lo
can
que va a
like, go
pasar.
to learn, like it actively learns. Because like right now it's a machine that like people are actively going to, and I guess the fear is that someday it'll become a robot that's like walking around and learning.
Se va a hacer, él solo se va a poder producir con la inteligencia que pueda crearse. Y una máquina que pueda deshacer al ser humano.
Yeah.
Y el único que tiene control sobre todo esto es una fuerza sobrenatural.
And some water.
Yeah, it's gonna create some.
It'll start to rust. It'll be fine. Get some salt water
figure
around
out
you.
how to rust it. Throw some salt on it. Pues
It'll have to build a network of like solar power first to like get all the energy to power itself. So you know what? You know, it might
pero está
solve some
peligroso,
problems.
o sea, porque y cosas así como las que están pasando, esto del principio es casi como el final. O sea, es como parecido, es como vamos a llegar a un cero. Tenemos que llegar a una, vamos a destruirnos. ¿Cuántas generaciones
I've been watching.
estamos ahorita nosotros que conocemos en la historia, más o menos como de la tierra, like my homeland, era como en México, ¿verdad? Pero ¿de dónde provenimos nosotros? ¿De dónde han venido todo el DNA? Mucho de ahí mismo, de esa tierra, pero otro vino de otros lados.
It's like a half and half us.
¿Cómo se fue juntando esa generación? Ahora, después de esa generación ha habido miles y miles y miles de millones de generaciones atrás. Porque esto de este principio es nomás como para este tiempo que hace supuestamente este escrito salió hace como unos 5,000 años atrás de nosotros. Como tenemos de Cristo hace 2,000. Atrás de Cristo había otros 3,000 años de historia. Y en esos 3,000 años de historia, este es el libro que se ha quedado escrito del principio de esa generación. Pero atrás de esa generación ya sale, después aquí vamos a leer como sale que ya hay otro, como los hijos de los hombres le llaman. Adán y Eva son los hijos de la creación de Dios. Este es el libro que estamos leyendo por la Biblia. Pero después sale, los hijos de Adán se mezclaron con los hijos de los hombres. Entonces quiere decir que había otras generaciones, otra gente. Como esto sale de un lugar, no conocían al mundo exterior, conocían cierta parte del mundo solamente. Es como ahorita nosotros. En África, cuánta gente que vive en remotas islas que no quieren nada o no tienen nada que ver con lo de afuera. Y nosotros ya estamos con la tecnología, entonces sabemos que existen, pero ellos no se mezclan con nosotros y nosotros no nos mezclamos con ellos. Cierto tipo de gente sigue viviendo en la inocencia, en la cosa de porque ahorita,
they're not, I don't know, because like people will go to like visit them and explore them, and then the people will either be murdered and their stuff will be stolen, or the people will, I think they usually get murdered and their stuff is stolen. So like I don't know how. I think they've gathered. I don't know if they know how to like keep the technology that got the people to those islands there, but I know that like there's a bunch of people that they say stay away from this island because it's a violent people. Yeah, they don't want to be.
They don't want to be mixed with the rest of them.
But it's like
do you blame them? I think if I could be left alone, if I could just survive and be pleased with what we
Sentinel
have.
Island, I think.
But right now it's like esta tierra de nosotros según es la que está avanzada. Nosotros somos de la tierra que está ya, que según estamos muy adelantados pero al mismo tiempo nos estamos destruyendo nosotros mismos.
I've been watching.
Nos odiamos unos a otros estando aquí y no podemos como ya estamos, como dices, del Señor que hizo su propia inteligencia y la puso en un internet, ¿verdad? Está en el web o lo que sea de esta inteligencia. nosotros como seres humanos estamos matándonos nosotros mismos. Estamos buscando bombas o armas más grandes en nuestro pueblo, aquí. Estamos odiándonos con otra gente. No nosotros necesariamente, pero como que se siente que hay un choque.
I feel like at this point, I don't feel like that's genuine though. Is there like, because there's no like violent outbreaks here, right? Like there's no like, is there? Or
Well, in some places there is.
or like,
There
I
are.
mean like right here, like
No
here,
sabemos.
like in Fabra, like in this specific area, like do you hear of like?
Pleitos de gente grande, no.
It feels like
No.
so to me in this area specifically,
Estamos bien.
it feels like it's something that people just do because like they were raised. It's like a sports team, if you will. So it's like I'm cheering on for this team. So it's like I feel like politics in this area isn't so much a life or death, because at the end of the day, pretty much almost everybody in Southern California is okay. It's like no matter what, how much you scream, the state is like blue. Like the county can be red, like certain areas, like we're in like red areas and all that. But it's like I feel like at the end of the day, like having a super red neighbor and a super blue neighbor, like if they were to be neighbors in this area specifically, it would be like it would be fine. Like,
They're
it would be-
fine,
yeah,
and
like,
we're
neighborly.
fine.
And it's like
And
maybe
yeah.
they'll put on like a sign, and it's like they'll have like little like silence arguments with their signs that they put up on their lawns. But like I think they're not gonna talk about that, because they're just gonna be like, oh, you know, like the this or that.
This
like,
San Diego
they're
is
neighborly.
like that. San
Neighborly,
Diego is like that.
at
And
the
we've
end-
been like that for a while.
at
But
the end of the day, like everybody's very neighborly, and it's like, and I feel like we're in an area where it's very much
it feels like it's safe.
It feels-
Estamos que
yeah.
no nos vamos a todavía a matar entre nosotros.
Yeah,
Y
but
ojalá
that's
que
just
siga
because-
así.
Fingers crossed, yeah, because you hear, because there's the other day I was in the gym, and I like you're supposed to scan yourself in. It was like in the middle of the night, and it's like the front door was held open, and then I was like, ooh, that's sketchy. So then I go upstairs, and then the emergency exit door was also being held open, and it was like 1 or 2 a.m. And I was just like sitting there. I was like, if this could be like any other, I don't know, like just any person just walking up there like with a gun. It's like I'm just like right here. I just kept looking at it, and I was like, you know what? If that's how I go, then it's time to go. But anyways, what I've been meaning to say, I've been watching like people that I watch a lot of people that go off grid and like start their own little homesteads or whatever. And it makes me think of the new little plot of land that you have, where it's like it's just raw land, where it's like that's not connected to like there's no city water, there's no like right like in
No.
Mexico there's no city water period, right? Everybody has
Well,
like
there
water
is
tanks.
there is city water, but it's like really bad service. You get it once a week, or
Is that like the tank,
or
or what
twice
is
a
the,
week.
what do you mean?
There's pipes, plumbing that goes across the city, the town, and but like they'll give it to you once or twice a week. They close a valve and they spread it in the whole town. So one day it's like to a certain neighborhood. The next day it's in another neighborhood and another neighborhood. So va barrio tras barrio tras barrio. Y
So like there'll
cuando
be like
te
random
llega,
days where you just have like dry pipes.
nothing.
If you
Nothing.
okay.
You open up and it's there. That's todos los días de la semana. Mi papá le llega el jueves, el martes y el sábado, o le llega 2 veces a la semana.
Is that
Y llega un trickle. No llega mucho.
so? It's like people leave it on. That's why they have like tanks up top
To
to
fill
store
them
it.
up. That's the
And
storage.
that's it. Those
So it
tanks,
makes
how do
you
those?
all
Do
week.
you have to like throw chemicals into those tanks, or those tanks stay sterile? Because like a lot
They're
of the people
supposed to
that
be sterile.
a lot of people that I watch, like there's like this guy that I watched who like he talked about how like at one point he was using bleach, and right now he's using chlorine like in his tank. Like he just dumps like chlorine in, like he has like a little gutter system set up like on the edges, and it's like and like it all flushes into like there's like a tank right next to it, but like I guess there's like a first flush, like a first pipe for like all the dirty water, where like it's like a big like it's a pipe that goes into like a 4 or 6 inch pipe towards the bottom, so like all of the dirty water will like the first flush will like hopefully all of it will like go there, and then the rest, like as soon as that water's all filled up, like the clean water will start flowing into the actual tank. And then like that little like the filth pipe or whatever has like the tiniest little leak so that it like spreads out. Yeah. So that it doesn't stay filled up. So like
that's a way to clean your water.
Well, that's a way to capture rainwater.
Rainwater, gotcha. Esto es de los pozos, no, allá es más pozos, wells.
Not a lot of rain.
Once, 3 times out of the year.
Is there a lot of like porque también at one point I had like you know how like here it'll get like really misty, really foggy. There's a lot of like moisture in the air.
Yeah.
You can like condenses like you can theoretically collect it through condensation. Is there like a lot of that there, or is está muy seco más?
No.
It's very dry.
It's drier.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So it really is all about the wells.
They depend a lot on wells or a lot of reservoirs. Pozos, bueno, son los reservoirs, pero o streams.
So like where the new little lot is or whatever. How was that?
Over there is I have to dig out a well.
Is there access to a well in that area? Or
you just find it on the ground. There's a lot of water on the ground over there.
There is?
Yeah, it's funny, but almost
isn't that
the whole town is sitting on water.
Well, I mean, there's a whole, I mean, the Valley of California, the whole under thing. The reason why it's sinking is because they pumped out so much of the
There's so much water, there's a void in there, and it's moved to another place, like to the superficial area.
It's been, they just pump it out, yeah.
So you take the water out of this area and you create a void,
and then it goes
and you move it from here over there. There's a thing in here. And that's how world changes. Right now, there is a lot of earthquakes.
Right now, there's
like a bunch of earthquakes going on in Central America, in Mexico, en Oaxaca,
igual aquí, ¿no?
Guatemala, poquito aquí en Palomar, estuvo uno hace un mes, y en San Andrés también ha hecho poquito, que es la falla.
They're saying that like we're overdue for
we're coming. I
feel like pretty much
esto es como un aviso de los tiempos. Me dijo Dios, produzca la tierra hierba, plantas que den semilla. Esto es como un cambio de tierra. La naturaleza misma se cambia para cuidarse, porque nosotros no la vamos a cuidar. Nosotros ya la estamos desperdiciando y la estamos quemando. Con todos los aerosols, los carros, los aviones, los celulares. Los celulares están quemando mucho. Estamos controlando las ondas que están pasando también ya, las invisibles, Entonces estamos acabando el mundo poquito al pasito. La fuerza sobre nosotros. Empezamos de la nada. Siempre aquí estamos en la nada. Y volvemos a la nada. O sea, podemos acumular, vivir, crear. Y luego de repente, ¡pum!, nos vamos. ¿Se queda qué?
I don't think we can use any of whatever you just said, because I think you could just hear my mom screaming in the back.
Mamá. Sí, somos nada. Oye, del Edén salía un río que regaba el jardín y se dividía en 4 brazos. El primero se llamaba Brazón, el primer pisón, el cual elevado toda la tierra de Avila, donde hay oro muy fino. Ahí se encontraba también aromas y piedras preciosas, Gijón, Cus y Tigres. Estos ríos son de allá de Israel. Todos los 4 ríos.
That's not where Jesus was born, right? Jesus
is
not from
Israel, Nazaret. Bueno, es allá en el.
Because like I've seen videos of like the modern day Jesus, like where Jesus was born and where Jesus died and all that, and it's like it's all underground. It's like it's all covered. It's all like.
Y eso es lo mismo que te digo. Esa generación también se cubrió. De hace 2000 años, la gente
just started to build
de esa generación se tapó, se perdió, se acabó. Y quedó el escrito de Jesús en diferente tierra, se fue moviendo. Entonces es donde se acaba todo ahí de Jesús. Nosotros aquí en los mayas, y no vamos muy lejos, los mayas hace apenas 500 años que los españoles vinieron a esta tierra. Después de que los españoles andaban en Israel, en toda África, en todas partes, llegan por acá porque querían darle la vuelta a la tierra, porque siempre fue cuando se dieron cuenta de que era redonda, por Galileo Galilei. O Copérnico, los los pensadores de 1500. No, pero o sea, tantas teorías, pero todas estas generaciones se van perdiendo, se van muriendo, se van acabando. Nosotros nos vamos a acabar, nuestra generación va a quedar abajo de la tierra también. De repente estos edificios o cosas grandes van a estar tapadas, arruinadas, y va a venir otra generación en el cual un mensaje se va a quedar escondido, escrito. Y es donde nosotros podemos a lo mejor dejar algo, ya sea que sirva o que no sirva. Porque pues, ¿qué más podemos hacer? O sea,
would you leave 10 commandments, or how many would you leave? Because obviously you only have a stone.
Eso no nos queda a nosotros.
Obviously there's only a stone.
No, es que no es eso. Es otra cosa más profunda que 10 mandamientos, porque eso ya está escrito. Es la preprogramación de Dios en nosotros. Son esos mandamientos, tú ya los tienes dentro de ti, yo los tengo dentro de mí. Ya todas las personas tienen como algo algo por dentro te hace a veces sentirte bien, entonces eso quiere decir como que estás haciendo bien. Pero algo te hace sentir el amar a Dios sobre todas las cosas, el primero. Okay. Primero. Pero es amar a Dios sobre todas las cosas, ¿verdad? Pero uno siempre se ama a uno mismo sobre todas las cosas.
Yeah, I'm like, God is within you, God is you, God is
te amas
this
tú.
So it's like, yeah, love yourself,
entonces nos amamos.
Yeah.
Pero nos amamos al punto de que nosotros nos creemos dioses.
Some people legitimate, yeah, and
y
then other
mejor
people
que los
legitimately.
Demás.
Yeah, and then there's like a few people that are like, that in their mind are correctly religious, that like they, as opposed to seeing God within themselves and with others, they see God as like a literal man in the sky. And so
asking
they're like,
for their advice.
To love man. Yeah,
asking
so you have
for
to
their
love.
Advice.
And so it's like, as opposed to loving themselves and their neighbor, they're loving a false idol, really.
It's loving an idol. Algo que no está ahí, algo que no es real. Porque Dios es real. O sea, la vida de...
You're real, I'm real, we're real.
Estamos aquí. Y estamos creyendo en
we're
algo
unsure if there is necessarily
no
someone
seguros,
looking at us, but we know what is here, and we know what is here.
Y lo que se quedó escrito.
Yeah.
Y vemos y hacemos, y we make sense of it. La cosa es de que todo esto tiene, en su sentido, tiene verdad. Científicos pueden probar todo eso. Que ellos mismos son parte de todo esto. Nosotros todos somos parte de algo. De alguna forma somos parte de algo. Y algunos van a quedarse más notables que otros. Simplemente, bueno, vamos a ver en lo del dinero, en lo del pago del dinero. Estaba pensando en gente que trabaja mucho, que gana mucho, que produce mucho, ¿verdad? Pero son gente que como que pisa a otro para poder seguir subiendo arriba. Estamos hablando como tienes que usar a alguien para que te produzca. Tú solo no puedes producir todo. Al menos de que eres muy inteligente y produces algo, pero necesitas otras personas que te lo compren, necesitas otras personas que lo muevan, necesitas personas. Tú solo tienes una idea, pero hasta ahí. Si no tienes quien te ayude, te acompañe o quien te la sirva, no eres nada. Entonces está algo que me quedé pensando, porque todos le tiran muchas personas muy avanzadas en su conocimiento de eso a la Madre Teresa de Calcuta, que es una mujer de la India, pero nacida en Europa, en Austria, creo. No estoy seguro en qué parte, pero sé que se fue a India, se hizo monja. Entonces ella, sin nada en la bolsa, nada en sus bolsillos, se fue a las meras, a los peores barrios de India, que es en Calcuta, Calcutta. Y ahí lo primero que empezó a hacer, vio a un señor que estaba muriendo en la calle. Y fue y lo limpió, le limpió porque estaba lleno de gusanos, estaba muriéndose. Cuando una vez que ella se retiró del convento donde estaba, ella era la superiora, la encargada de una escuela, encargada de monjas, no estaba ella contenta. Entonces pide su permiso a sus mayores, a sus superiores, que no hayan sido, ya sea el papa o algo, de que ella tenía una misión que hacer. Se iba a separar del convento de toda esa forma, porque ellas ya todos en cierta forma ya están organizadas. Y le dieron el permiso, ella se fue a la calle solita. Otra hermana la siguió después, como a la semana, pero ella se fue y se empezó a limpiar gente que no tenía nada, la gente que estaba tirada en la calle moribunda, gente con SIDA que en el 1980, 1970, no los podías curar, tú no los podías tocar, como ahora el COVID que nos pasó. Así era el SIDA en 1970, 1980, que si se tenían miedo a infectarse con la sangre. Esta mujer desde ese tiempo empezó a limpiar moribundos, prostitutas, gente que se estaba muriendo en la calle. Nada más gente que estaba muriendo en la calle. En cuestión de 30 años, ella formó una asociación mundial de empezar de nada. Y la gente que se sentía tocada por ella, le donaba dinero. Mucha gente muy buena. Vamos a suponer, de aquí a Estados Unidos ella tenía mucha confianza en los Reagans. No varios así, pero ella les podía pedir. Y además de ello estaba la Lady Diana de Inglaterra, o sea, gente famosa así. Pero había tantísima gente como tú, como yo, que normal que le daban, todos donaban para que ella siguiera su misión. Vamos a suponer que una asociación así que yo llegó a juntar, yo creo, millones o billones de dólares. No porque ella lo estaba pidiendo ni nada. Ella se sentó a limpiar gente, nunca se aprovechó de tener ese dinero para ella. Les tenía comida a todos los lugares donde iba, como aquí en Tijuana, abrió un lugar de moribundos también. En Estados Unidos había muchos lugares que, si estamos en Estados Unidos supuestamente todo está cuidado. No, hay más necesidad. Y aquí le ponían muchos reglamentos, como que no podía esto, que no. Ella siempre seguía sus propias reglas en donde quiera que iba. Y si no se las aceptaban, les decía, ahí nos vemos. Quédense con los enfermos. Yo vengo a ayudar a los que me dejan ayudar. O sea, como voy a respetar sus reglas, no me voy a meter en la política ni nada. En San Francisco, ahí puso un centro, se lo querían cerrar porque decían que las reglas eran que el ser humano tenía que tener su diversión como fisiológica y todo. Y ella no quería ni televisiones ni radios que estuvieran perturbando. Sí los alimentaban, los cuidaban, los curaban una vez que ya estaban sanos, que ya podían moverse. Entonces, pues vámonos a movernos. Ya hay lugar para otro más pobre que tú. Y así, entonces, mientras los curaban, les pusieron una regla que ellos tenían que tener televisión donde pudieran ver pornografía. Y ella dijo, no, nos vemos, cierren el lugar, nos vamos nosotras, déjenos a ellos que ellos se encarguen. ¿Qué hizo el gobierno? Se los dio para atrás. Les dijo, no, sí, está bien, sigue tus reglas. ¿Por qué? Porque ellos no se atrevían, ni el mismo, porque no hay quien. No hay personas que quieran totalmente desprenderse de ellas mismas para ayudar a otra persona más necesitada. Es muy difícil encontrar personas como ella. Y eso es lo que a ella la llevó a hacer. De las más desconocidas en una parte más privada, más cochina del mundo, que es India en Calcuta, a haber sido conocido en todo el resto del mundo. Entonces, te das cuenta de que puedes ser bien inteligente, puedes ser muy bueno para trabajar, puedes hacer tantas cosas, pero en realidad a veces otras cosas son las que te pueden llevar más lejos en el mundo. Ahora, ese es otro misterio, esa es otra cosa que se puede quedar escondida aquí, escrita, esa vida de esa persona, para darle un ejemplo a generaciones adelante. O el que nosotros nos pierdamos, ese ejemplo se puede quedar. Hubo una viejita, una chaparrita, que fue conocida por todo el mundo en el que ella estuvo, simplemente porque ella se puso a ayudar a la gente más necesitada, a la gente más pobre, de los pobres, la más pobre. Y fue como vivió. Entonces te das cuenta de que a veces uno está buscando tanto llegar tan lejos, cuando en realidad puedes estar aquí haciendo servicio que te puede llevar muy lejos. Y servicio, pero con corazón también. Y sabes que a veces nos va a pasar. Va a haber el momento en el que nos vamos a tener que parar a pedir. O sea, por eso es por lo que yo digo, hay que tratarnos de hacer como puntos antes de... porque no sabes nunca en qué forma te puede.
And then there's that whole story of like that one beggar who was Jesus.
Pero no simplemente a veces por religión.
No, yeah,
es
I know,
como
but yeah.
por karma, es por que es religión. Una karma también se refiere mucho a los al ojo por ojo, diente por diente o cosas así, de que si haces algo bueno te viene algo bueno, si haces algo malo te viene algo malo. Ojo por ojo, diente por diente, aunque eso siempre lo agarra la gente como me desquito, pero no es al desquitarse, es al hacer algo bueno por algo bueno, algo malo por algo malo.
Yeah, like everything in nature wants balance. Like the reason that like dams overflow is because the water's gotten too high, and it wants the balance or whatever. If there's too much in one way, eventually, like with politics too, something that's not necessarily real, a real physical force. If you swing too hard one way for like a few years, it swings right back the other way for a few more years,
con un señor
and it starts to swing right back the other way. That's all it does. That's why I'm saying like in this area, it's a sports team. It's people cheering their sports team on.
One day
they're
one
cheering
wins,
on whoever's winning
wins,
right now.
exactly.
Yeah, whoever's
it's
loudest.
A game.
It's
but,
not like a. There's
but
no
it's
actual,
a dangerous game right now. The way that it's been played.
Because
when you start using cheap shots, that's when it becomes cheap shots are, and you can see them, but some go like even too far. Everybody uses cheap shots to win. Everyone, especially when you're on
it's a matter like at a certain point, the reason why Donald Trump was able to get so far is because he wasn't afraid of like throwing mud, because he was already in the mud. He was already covered in shit. He was like, who's gonna throw more shit on me? Like
he don't care. Mm-hmm. No, he said it out loud. Yeah, and he told everybody, I'm this and I'm not, and what. Estábamos hablando con este señor en el restaurante el 6 de la mañana. Estaba hablando, hey, I know that Donald Trump is like a jerk, but he did good to the country. He was like able to do what he wanted to do. Y estábamos como al Biden. Está como dormido, como que lo tienen atado, como que no.
There's something
no
about him that, like right now, it's like they should really find,
They will try, but it's not a good thing that he runs again. He's very pretty old, and so
like I'm not inclined to vote for him. I'm really inclined.
But it's like if Donald Trump comes back again. Might as well have him do it, but it's like, who's the worst of the worst right now?
We have to start with like a third party.
Who's gonna win? Who's gonna be? But you're right. I mean, it's like nobody wants to vote for Biden right now. No one. Even the Democrats don't want it, and then they don't want to run against him because of their thinking. Because we cannot outthrow our president. So it's like something they're already locked into. If he decides to run,
and it's like
like okay, all the Democrats have to be behind him instead.
Which is something that I definitely. That's why I haven't when I've registered because you have to like register to vote. I haven't registered with a party.
Anybody?
No, because it's like because that's a mentality that everybody has where it's like
you register, you vote for this guy.
And it's like you align with them no matter what. Like no matter what you vote this color.
So
no
that's
matter
the
what,
thing.
you vote
That's the
this
thing
color.
about
like,
us, about me. Like I told this guy, it's like, I see a lot of things, but I see him on my side of the story. It's like I was an illegal immigrant when I got here. I was little, but it was illegal. So I relate myself to all these guys that are out there trying to make it across. Once I made it across, I anything that I could do to become legal, to work my way into the system, and luckily for me, I was able to do that. But millions of other guys were not as lucky as me 30-some years ago. So I told them, so when we talk about like politics, it's like you're telling me one side of the story, and to me it makes sense because now that I'm here, I see the need to protect our borders, the need to do certain things, the need to all this. But in the same time, I know as a human being my right of doing something better of myself. So I can relate to two sides of the story, but I'm always going to try to go for the one that I was born into. So we go, but we can talk about this. And he says, yes. And we can, because we have two different points of view, but we're communicating. So we have to come to to the middle to make this balance properly. Because if we start arguing, then it's going to just go one way. I repeat, then it's going to go this way. So it's not a balanced thing.
When you're arguing, it's just a matter of like you're not really listening. You're thinking of what you're going
what you want to make
say.
Points for.
Yeah.
But nothing to it makes sense. What you're saying makes sense. What I'm saying, it makes sense in a way. And another story that I told him is like, like Pancho Villa. We talk about Pancho Villa being like for us in Mexico, he was our hero. For the United States, he was
criminal.
A criminal. He was the most wanted guy.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, and to me, when I was an outsider, I could understand why. I come here and I see a whole different point, whole other different idea. Y luego cuando estoy hablando con americanos, when I'm talking to you guys, it's like, and you're trying to share the history, and I look at it from the other perspective, then I just get like, okay, well, maybe somewhere in there, each party has its own tell.
There's like that saying where it's like,
to the story.
There's this side, there's that side, and then somewhere in the middle is the truth.
There's the truth somewhere in there.
Yeah.
And who knows what it is. And it could have been a whole entire differently true, because some guys would make up things like anything to yeah. Another thing he said, the language. He says, and that I got him right away, because when he said, when my parents came from Germany, he says my grandparents came from Germany. The very first thing they did when they got here is to stop their kids from speaking German. And they told them, you gotta speak English. And he goes, and I don't see why the other people don't do that. And I go, well, in my side is like, I wish my kids could speak 5 different languages and not just one. Because it's better for them. Their brain goes so much further and beyond things, because then you're communicating with 5 different cultures. Even though we're all the same, but it's better for the person.
Yeah, for kids, that is.
And even if you take he said, well, we should keep their cultures and costumes and whatnot. And go, but look how much more advantage it is to be able to talk 2 different languages. And then I start talking to your mom in Spanish. And he's looking at me, and so he's like, yeah, it makes sense. What I say is not all stupid. It made sense for him right there on the spot. So he's like, drop that subject in a second. Then
But I mean, if you think about it, you were technically the first generation came here, and your kids were the ones that we started speaking English. Like you didn't force us to speak English, like the schools did or whatever. But like.
And you got it.
But like,
and you learned it, and you can talk 2 different languages.
It's happened, yeah. Like that's technically what happened.
Y si hubiéramos podido hablar en francés o japonés en la escuela, en la casa. Porque en la casa es donde se puede, porque el inglés, yo como le dije a tu mamá, el inglés se tiene que estar en la escuela. Porque nosotros no sabemos inglés. Y al momento de que entraron a la escuela, un niño chiquito lo agarra en un segundo. Un niño hasta los 10 años, su mente está agarrando todo, 12 años. Porque yo recuerdo, nosotros cuando entramos en la high school, ya como que ya estábamos un poquito más rebeldes. Ya nuestra mente ya estaba metida en cosas más diferentes. Ya estábamos en teenagers, ya andábamos en otro idioma. Vamos a decir, en nuestro intelectual, I guess. Yo quería aprender inglés, pero me daba mucha vergüenza hablarlo. Okay, me sentía como con los amigos que hablaban inglés, ellos bilingües que ya estaban aquí de mucho tiempo, y me encontraba con ellos, me da vergüenza hablar inglés.
In kindergarten, I didn't speak for like, what was it, a month, 2, I don't know, a while, and I remember not speaking, and I'm pretty sure in my mind it was because I was embarrassed, because I was like, if I speak, they're gonna know that I speak Spanish, and I was embarrassed that they would know that I spoke Spanish. And I was like, if I speak, they're gonna know. And I don't know why. The thing
It's
the thing
mentally
is
a blockage.
well, but the thing is also like I'm thinking back like now my age now I think back like I was four maybe 5 years old kindergarten. I think I was 4 years old, but it's like why at 4 years old did I have that idea in my head that it's like it's embarrassing to speak Spanish. It's embarrassing to like have like it's embarrassing like.
Well, I don't know because I tell you what,
I don't think it was from you. I don't
it
think
was not from me. It must have been the fact that we took you like to Mike Robinson.
I think it was something about old white people, maybe something like that.
It could have been like that, and you went through their schooling through Laura's and Mike's, and they taught you in English.
Because it's like I knew English. Obviously, if I was there, in preschool, obviously I knew how to speak it.
You picked it up with them.
But for some reason, when I went to kindergarten, like in Mrs. And when I was in that class, for some reason, I just stayed silent. And I was like, and then I remember it wasn't until they told me, "Do you want to skip a grade?" that I started talking. And you know the worst part? When I started talking, the very first time that I started talking, the very first words that I said, I remember it was a story time. So we were like sitting down, and she was like telling us a story.
Was it like, Chicolo or okay?
And we're all sitting, and then I turned to this guy, this kid. His name was Zach. I remember like everything perfectly, and I forget what I said. I think I said ass, or I said fuck. I said a curse word, and then he started laughing, and so then I go and I either said ass or I said ass the first time, and then the second time I said fuck, and he started laughing again, and then I just kept saying different words to him, and he kept laughing, and then finally, he is not.
You won't talk.
No, I think it was just the curse words. It was the fact that it was curse words.
But coming from you, coming from the silent guy.
No, I think because it was kids too.
That's a funnier thing.
Because here's the thing. We were kids. Like it was like.
No, but in a way it makes sense.
So like, well then here's the thing. I think I was smart enough to know that he would laugh. He is not smart enough as a child to know that like you can't necessarily say that to everybody.
Oh.
So he turns to the girl next to him and he whispers a curse word. And she gets up and she tells the teacher. And then the teacher closes the book. She's like, okay. And then she gives us a speech on curse words, on like bad words and why we're not supposed to say them.
That was funny. He thought she was gonna laugh.
I don't know what he thought.
Well,
but there was something. There was something in my head knew to. Yeah, I don't know.
But to say no, Miss Chicolo. Actually, I know that you learned from her a lot, and then it was a really good deal. We wish we would have had her for Kimberly.
But she wasn't that. Why was she put into the
el sistema?
But it was from the beginning.
From the beginning. But
did they test us before, or what? How did they place us into?
No, they just placed. But I think that it had to do something when we went with you. Was like the very first year.
How was the very first year? Yeah, I know that.
So you go there. You're the first year, and they just set you up whatever. Kevin Beltran goes by Kevin is an English name. It's not a Mexican name. Kimberly Beltran. Then they figure out that she was Spanish.
Could it have been that? Or I mean, obviously,
no, they figured out because that's how it is. You went directly into English, and she didn't. She was into the other...
The ESL one. And she was into the whole year, right? Or
and she already spoke English. We tried to get her to the...
I remember that being a thing,
tried. Yeah. And like, okay, well, stay there. It was her. She wasn't ready, I guess. It must have been because you... And you would pick up stuff like crazy. Like... spelling. I remember, God, you were what? Like 2 years old. Right when you started with Michael Robinson, you would look at this thing and then say, Dad, ask me how to spell that. Ya estábamos, entonces yo empezaba, ok. Entonces yo buscaba otra palabra y te la decía y tú la empezabas a pensar. Luego ya cuando te decía la que me has visto, la más grande como triple sec, empezabas. Triple, T-R-I-A, pero así empezaste. It was like
I have my earlier memories is like reading like shampoo bottles.
Shampoo bottles, that was the first thing in the shower. So you were always asking me and you were always wanting to take a shower. Okay, let's go. Y empezabas a preguntarme.
Hilarious.
That was it was pretty funny porque yo también con mi papá cuando estaba chiquillo me bañaba con él, pero a él no le gustaba. No le voy a poner rojo para hacer la bandera. Oh, ya no está rojo abajo.
It'll stay on top, I think, depending. Oh, no, that one fell.
Okay, entonces verde arriba.
Why did it? ¿Se quedó arriba? Is it because I dropped it onto the pomegranate? Or is it because the alcohol is...
Alcohol.
I think it's because it's falling on the pomegranate first. So it like stops. It slows down. So se queda separado.
Sobre todo los niños ahora, lo de la escuela, que les están, fíjate ahora, a todos, no importa que sean americanos o japoneses, todo eso, los quieren poner en inglés español.
Yeah,
Clases.
with duolingual, type of classes. Yeah, that's what, they have right now. Yeah.
Y pues, o sea, se están dando cuenta de que los niños es mejor que sean bilingües, que se abran, y no porque sea español, pero español es el que más se usa aquí, en esta parte.
Yeah.
Y es América, Sudamérica. Entonces, toda la gente que viene del sur de América para acá hablan español. Es muy poquita gente que viene de Europa para que hablen francés, no es la necesidad. Para que hablen alemán, tampoco.
They all speak English.
They tienen que hablar inglés primero.
Yeah. They kind of speak Spanish
They
too,
don't need it. So what they're going for is like all this stuff that we did. They realize that it's not such a bad idea after all. But I disagree with it now because in my side of the story, I taught you Spanish. I don't want you to waste your time learning Spanish when you can be learning other stuff at school.
Yeah. I see what you mean.
And it takes twice as long to teach one thing. Lo que le estaba diciendo a tu tío David. It's like, okay, no hay por qué decirle refresco de soda. Ya perdiste más. El refresco está caliente y tiene gaseosa y todo esto. Más una vez. No. And then you repeat it again. So, no, the soda has gas and everything. So you just wasted twice as much time. It doesn't look like it, but at the end of the road, on a whole day of work, 8 hours became 4. 4 hours became 2. As much as you were able to teach. Cuanto hubieras podido estudiar, te tomó